Let me set the record straight, Mr. Speaker. My government was elected to office less than 6 months ago. I want to give a background to the crisis we are now in.
That's right.
Because all the presentations I've heard did not point to the challenges of the time and where we are coming from. I did not create the situation that we are now in. I inherited. We on this side acknowledge that there are several aspects of the economic crisis which face the country, which result from factors outside of our control or of any administration or any individual. It would be either naive or dishonest to suggest otherwise. The number of countries with formerly powerful economies that are now facing major economic challenges is obviously evidenced by this. Some of the world's greatest economies have still not fully recovered from the recession. The European economic powers, from Italy to France to Spain, are seeking to devise solutions which will simultaneously address their fiscal challenges even whilst protecting social stability. Earlier today, the ministers of finance from the G20 countries held an emergency meeting to consider a new strategy to address the deepening economic crisis in the Eurozone. Here in Jamaica, my administration can speak to these issues with total frankness. We are on record, both within and outside of Parliament, warning the then government, immediately after I came to office, of the looming crisis and the need to take action. We did not make these statements in order to create panic. We did so as we recognized, Mr. Speaker, that unless the potential dangers were addressed, we could further damage an already fragile economy. It is also a matter of record that our advice was rejected. In a manner of speaking, we were laughed out of court. It is hard to forget the opposition spokesman on finance, in his role as Minister of Finance and Planning, dismissing our warnings. Rather than taking defensive measures, he argued that we should be bold and seize the opportunities provided by the crisis. That was a warning then. A notice, research are being done on things that we have said, particularly Portia. But I've never heard anything on what was said during those difficult days and what brought us to where we are and in the position that we are today. Anyhow, they broke it. We have to fix it. This approach to macroeconomic management informed the design of their first budget, which projected expenditure levels which simply could not be financed. We're not being wise after the event. We had said it then. We characterized the budget as lacking credibility. Oh, we were scolded. Rather than accepting the empirical evidence presented during the initial months of the fiscal year 2008-2009, Mr. Speaker, the then government sought to stick by its expenditure budget. They borrowed way beyond the amounts projected, thus pushing up interest rates and increasing inflation. Let no one forget that when we left office in September 2007, interest rates totally determined by the market were just over 11%. The debt stock was Jamaica 950 billion, and the debt to GDP ratio was 107%. The increase in debt stock over the period September 2007 to December 2011 illustrates my point. The public debt as at September 30, 2007 was 973 billion Jamaican dollars. By December 31, 2011, it had jumped to $1.6 trillion. An increase of over 60%. Then come now to parade as if the present economic challenge in the country was caused by us. And expect us to do in 6 months what they did not do in 4 years. As the debt increased over the period, the economy remained sluggish. The then finance minister began on a borrowing binge. He had found a cheaper way to put the country into more and more debt. But my administration is now reaping the bitter harvest, and the country is now paying dearly for this. The reality is that the fiscal accounts have not recovered from the wild adventure of 2008-2009. This Honorable House should recall that in the fiscal year 2009-2010, 4 different sets of revenue measures were brought to this House. Let me remind the country, because I'm not wearing a dress that is not belonging to me. I am not accepting you to travel with me. Travel with me on this journey now. In April, Ministry Paper 26 tax measure. In May, the revised revenue measure. In September, the supplementary tax measure. And again in December, the enhanced revenue measure. They broke it. We have to fix it. Let me remind the country, Mr. Speaker, that we have been in office for just over 5 months. Don't blame us for your mismanagement. I heard a lot of it in the debate, as if everything was okay. And we are now the problem. We couldn't create so much problem in such a short time. If you on that side believe that the Jamaican people is just over 5 months, have already forgotten what they went through in 4 years under your government, you are sadly mistaken. You have, by your reckless borrowing, created many new members of the poor. Now that you're out and want to get back in, suddenly you are pretending to be champions of the poor. Welcome. 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 But let me caution you with the words of a wise man. People don't care what you know unless they know that you care. I am proud of our history of caring on this side, caring for those cast aside, the lost, the least, and the left out. And we will always care and take the right actions to demonstrate that we do. That is why, under my leadership, my government will, despite the challenges, do everything in our power to reduce the debt and restore growth in the economy with job creation. It is in that context that some of the unavoidable hard decisions had to be taken. And I hope the Jamaican people understand what we inherited and why we have to take some decisions that hurt hard, hurt to the core of our being. But we had to, because of the recklessness of actions and decisions taken by the former administration.
That's right. But you're out here now.
The third supplementary estimate for the fiscal year 2011-2012, which this House passed in March, represented the first step in making the public aware of the true fiscal situation. It is imperative as we go forward that any attempt to disguise the reality of our situation be rejected. Members, Mr. Speaker, the eventual penalties always exceed the cost of facing the truth the first time around. Our country had been brought to a very low point. We knew that taking up the reins of government would be very challenging. When we became the government, what we found to be most challenging of all was the state in which the previous administration left the economy. The country was battered and bruised. Remember? For 18 months, there was no review by the IMF. Remember?
Yes.
The economic hole deepened. Remember?
Yes.
The debt ballooned. Remember?
I can't recall.
You are there. Remember? The country was drifting out of control. Mr. Speaker, they were all there. They broke it. We will have to fix it. During the last 5 months, Mr. Speaker, every member of this team has been deeply preoccupied with addressing the economic challenges facing the country. Let me give just one example. The Jamaica Development Infrastructure Program, JDIP, was a US $400 million loan, US, for over 4 years. We thought upon assuming office that approximately US $200 million would have been left in that fund. To our horror, we found that the former administration had spent and committed all but US $2 million. $2 million US dollars was left of the $400 million US dollars in less than 2 years, with many projects still incomplete. Over expenditure in the first year and a half of the JDIP contributed significantly, Mr. Speaker, last year to the widening of the fiscal deficit. Remember? Dealing with that over expenditure was the reason the third supplementary estimates had to be presented. They broke it. Now, we have to fix it. Mr. Speaker, if we are to fix the economy and create the basis for sustainable economic growth and jobs for our people, we have to take courageous steps to tackle the growing debt and to stimulate growth. Each sector of the society must play its part. In taking the necessary tough decisions, we will protect the most vulnerable. This has been my lifelong philosophy, from which I will never depart, no matter what anyone says. You know, a 10-year-old girl sent me a message, and she said, "Go and make your presentation, but I'm going to listen because I want you to remind the country that what they could not do for 4 years, you cannot do in 5 months." And I want to recognize a message from that 10-year-old student and to thank her for her understanding of aspects of the economy at such a young age. Thank her, and I ask members to applaud that 10-year-old. History, Mr. Speaker, will judge each generation by its treatment of those who cannot help themselves. We had to weigh many things, the most critical of which was how it would impact every man, woman, and child, particularly the most vulnerable. We also had to weigh the facts that during the campaign we had made certain promises. Mr. Speaker, we made a promise before the elections to relieve the burden of GCT on electricity, particularly for the poor and struggling middle class. I just want to be heard so that the Jamaican people can hear me and they can judge.
That's right.
Rightly or wrongly. And I'm just asking you, Mr. Speaker, because I was sent here as a member of Parliament by over 10,000 persons in Southwest St. Andrew to over 500 votes from the other side. The Minister of Finance, in his presentation to Parliament, presented a set of measures. Since then, there have been numerous requests for us to extend these benefits to all householders. But it must be, I hope Jamaicans understand, the reason why some of these measures had to be taken is because of the mismanagement of the former administration.
Truth is an offense, but not a sin.
Since then, Mr. Speaker, there have been numerous requests for us to extend these benefits to all householders. We have heard the cries of the people, we have listened, and we feel the pain as well. It was not possible to fulfill all the promises in 5 months based on the conditions we found. Over time, when we are able to better see our way, we will honor our obligation. However, Mr. Speaker, after discussion with the Minister of Finance, we take the decision to completely remove GCT on electricity bills for all residential customers.
Members' time for speaking has expired. Good time to take a break.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Prime Minister's time for speaking be extended, sufficient to allow her to complete her presentation.
Question is that the Prime Minister's time for speaking be extended sufficient for her to complete her presentation. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? Ayes have it. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, persons doing business in their residences will reap the benefit of this as well. And businesses can reclaim their GCT. The Minister, when he closes the budget tomorrow, will speak further to this and other matters dealing with the revenue measures. I looked upstairs and I realized that we have a full representation of the diplomatic corps, and I pause to welcome them and to thank them. I also thank them for their contribution to Jamaica, for their friendship, and for their support. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I would now like to share with the nation where we are going and how we plan to get there. We are a nation, Mr. Speaker, on a mission with a vision. Every nation must have a vision to guide its mission. If it does not, there's a danger that our efforts will be fragmented and our energies diluted. In this presentation, I will be concentrating on 5 priority areas. They are: 1, growth and development with job creation; 2, creating a sense of ownership and empowerment; 3, education, training, and certification; and 4, community development; 5, core values and principles, restoring discipline, civility, and values. I want to look briefly, Mr. Speaker, on growth and development with jobs. I begin with the critical area of going for growth and development with job creation. Every time there is a challenge, Mr. Speaker, in terms of our economy, we hear talk about putting more people on welfare, when a large majority of people who are suffering are never caught into the social security net.
That's a fact.
Is this really working? We must revise our welfare system to protect the most vulnerable in the society.
Hear, hear.
But for me, my push will be to move people from welfare to well-being, and from well-being to wealth creation. We must provide our people opportunities for training, certification, and jobs consistent with the dignity of our citizens.
That's right.
The macroeconomic framework of this government is designed to stimulate local investment. It is designed to unleash the entrepreneurial spirit of our people while expanding and facilitating access to capital for small and micro enterprises. We have also embarked upon an aggressive program to attract foreign investors. The recently held International Investors Forum was an excellent step in that direction, and I want to pause to commend the previous administration for laying the groundwork for that event. Now, and you were the minister.
No, it's not there yet. It's tough.
Now, I want to give up applause where it is deserved, and I applaud this effort. Now, I want to assure you that we will translate that effort into real investments. Mr. Speaker, the first and most critical area of emphasis as part of our growth strategy is on energy.
That's correct.
Energy security and affordable energy are crucial to our national development. We have to urgently address our energy situation, or we will not be able to capitalize on the various opportunities that are likely to come our way.